is Vishakha coming up with today's current affair and presenting you the current affairs from IAS. We help you prepare for the various examination in a very simple and unique way. Moving ahead is daily current affairs, and first is a COVID-related news. In COVID-related news section, like the COVID-19 patients who have been recovered from COVID, like recently recovered, it says that they can defer the vaccination by 3 months. It's not only for the patient who have recovered recently, it's also for the patient who have given the anti-SARS antibodies and plasma. They can also defer their vaccination by 3 months. Those who have received the first dose and before they can complete their second schedule of the dose, they can also defer by 3 months. So this is the recommendation by the National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19. So this was related, first news regarding COVID. Second is the Delhi High Court has asked the government whether judicial officers in subordinate court could also be treated akin to the frontline worker. Now this, like even yesterday, I talked about the similar kind of news. There's many teachers, they died during election in the UP, and High Court asked them to be treated like a frontline worker. And I said the frontline worker get various kinds of benefits. So Delhi High Court asked even judicial officer to be treated on the similar lines, and then this was done because various judicial officers have even contracted the coronavirus, and they have to stay in duty to provide justice to people, and many have died in the process too. So this was this. Next is there is a plea challenging the DCGI approval of clinical trial of vaccine on children aged 2 to 18. Now, why this is important? Yesterday itself, there was a news which I discussed in detail that since the Singapore variant has become it has entered India as well, and this variant is impacting children too. So the government was gave the approval to DCGI to conduct the trial for the children as well from 2 to 18 age group. But the plea says that it may have adverse impact on mental and physical health of the children, to the impact that they may even lose life. And also, this is something you can quote in ethics, because the term says volunteer. But how can a child who's 2-year-old or 3-year-old per se can have the conscience to make a right decision, because they do not know the consequences of their decisions. So that is why the PIL filed in the court is asking the court to stop this action. Next is the news about the black fungus disease. Delhi High Court on Wednesday asked the center recently about the shortage of medicine used for treating black fungus. This even I talked about in the black fungus disease in the explanation part, that what it is, how it can be treated and prevented and everything, and what is the medicine. I talked about how amphotericin B is and other antifungal disease are used to treat black fungal disease. Now Delhi High Court has asked the Delhi government that why there is a shortage of this and what can be done. Next is, this is important, the Rajasthan government has declared a black fungus disease an epidemic and a notifiable disease. What does this mean? This means that now the health facilities have to report every case of disease in the act. And this Rajasthan government did under Rajasthan Epidemic Disease Act. Now this is the question, is very important, can be asked in MCQ. What are the act that the central government, the state government are using in order to apply various action during lockdown or COVID? There are two important acts. First is Disaster Management Act and second is Epidemic Disease Act. So the second act used by the Rajasthan government to declare the black fungus as an epidemic and a notifiable disease. The next is, I have already discussed, was what black fungal disease is, so we can move ahead. Next session is the political news. In the political news, first is state broadcaster Doordarshan is planning to set up a new channel, that is DD International, to project India's point of view to the world. And that is done in backdrop of growing criticism in Indian media about the government handling of pandemic. So our government is worried that India's image is not going good outside. So in order to create a good image of India, to project new image of India, the government is going to establish a DD International. Next in the news is Karnataka government announced 11,000 crore relief package for unorganized sector worker and farmer impacted by lockdown. I already talked how yesterday Delhi government came up with a relief package for the Delhiites. Similarly, Karnataka government has also come up with a relief package for the farmers and unorganized sector worker. And in the series, what it has done, it has declared 10,000 per hectare to each farmer who is growing flowers, fruit or vegetables. Again, 3,000 each to licensed and registered auto rickshaw, cab or taxi driver, even construction worker. 2,000 each to barber, dhobi, domestic worker, street vendor, etc. This is the monetary help the Karnataka government is going to provide. And it has even declared the people supplying LPG cylinder, teachers, electricity as a frontline worker. Again, I said frontline worker has been in news for past 3 days. First, the teacher were asked to be declared frontline worker. Second, the judicial officer, subordinate judicial officer were asked to be declared frontline worker. And now, Karnataka government has went ahead and it has declared teachers, electricity linemen, and those who are supplying LPG cylinder as frontline workers. Moving ahead, next is economic news. In economic news, the central government has enhanced the subsidy on the diammonium phosphate. Now, why government has done so? The government did so to retain the selling price of farmer at current level of 1200 per bag, which raised the subsidy from 500 per bag to 1200. Earlier government was providing the subsidy of 500, but now it is providing the subsidy of 1200, and which will raise the India's annual fertilizer subsidy from 80,000 by 14,000 crore more. So already it was around 80,000 crore. Addition of 14,000 crore will make it to almost 1 lakh crore. Why this is important? Because already India is the largest fertilizer producer, and fertilizer constitute the second largest subsidy expenditure of India, and is considered as revenue expenditure. Often it is the government is criticized that this is not a capital expenditure and it is not helping government to bring more investment in India. In fact, it is the fertilizer subsidy that is actually incentivizing in competitiveness of industries that are getting these kind of subsidy. So this is something an economic survey in 2016-17 has dealt in detail about this. This is something I would suggest to read in detail, because fertilizer subsidy has been in news for past many years, and prepare this in detail. Now, talking about the background is why government has done that, because the international price of the phosphoric acid and ammonia has gone up by 60 to 70%. Now the bag will cost around 2,400. So the government, if does not provide subsidy or provide the current subsidy of 500 only, then the bag would cost around 1,900. But 2,400 is the initial cost. With subsidy of 500, it becomes 1,900. And with the subsidy of 1,200, now the government will provide, the cost will remain at 1,200. So in order to stabilize the prices, especially in this time, the government has what it has done, it has increased the subsidy from 500 to 1,200 to maintain the price of the fertilizer bag at 1,200. This price phenomena you may not need to remember. What you need to work upon is that what is history, how government provide the fertilizer, what is the concept called cartelization that you're supposed to know about. This you should prepare in detail. Moving ahead is the cultural news. In the cultural news, this is something I made prepare in detail in my explanation part, because the 6 new sites are in the news. Is the 6 new sites are added to India's tentative list of UNESCO World Heritage Site, and currently I'm just calling the name. But in detail, I'll discuss about one site in detail, because this may ask in your exams. Next, first one is the Ganga Ghats, Varanasi. Second is the Temple of Kanchipuram. Third is the Satpura Tiger Reserve. Fourth is Maratha military architecture. Fifth is Maratha, and fifth is Bheda Ghat, Ilamte Ghat in Narmada Valley. And sixth is the megalithic site of the Hari Bengal. Now, 2 things are important in here, that what is the UNESCO World Heritage Site list and what is tentative list, because original list is different from the tentative list. So you're supposed to know the difference in between the two, because the World Heritage Site list is the one that is World Heritage sites are being recognized, but tentative list means they are not recognized so far, but there is a possibility that they may be included in the same heritage site list. This and what these sites are about deal in detail in my explanation column, but now let's move ahead. Next is international relation. In international relation series, US will work with COVAX to allocate 18 million doses of COVID vaccine to other countries. Now here, it is not important that US will work with COVAX. What is important is COVAX, because COVAX is a news. So there is a possibility your public service examination may ask this question. So what is COVAX? COVAX is one of 3 pillars of access to COVID-19 tool, COVID-19 accelerator, tool accelerator. Now, this ACT accelerator was launched by WHO, European Commission, and France in response to pandemic, which bring together government, various health organizations, manufacturer, scientists, private sector, civil society, etc. So many people are part of this initiative. And remember, all of this are part of 3 pillars of the ACT, not COVAX exactly, because COVID is one of the 3 pillars. What ACT deal with is diagnosis, treatment, and vaccine. So these are 3 pillars: diagnosis, treatment, and vaccine. It is a vaccine part that is be dealt by the COVAX. That is a later, that is a vaccine part. Now, COVAX is coordinated by Gavi, that is a vaccine alliance, Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness and Innovation, CEPI, and WHO. So Gavi, CEPI, and WHO together, they are making COVAX. And it will act as a platform to support research, development, and manufacturing of wide range of COVID vaccine candidates, and will also negotiate the prices. So it will help in development, manufacturing, as well as the procurement in all 3 regions. It is working. So all participating country, and this is important, like even US, India, or any least developed countries can participate in the process. LDC can participate to procure the vaccines. Other country can participate to provide the vaccines, and that's why US has taken the platform of COVAX in order to provide the vaccines to various countries in the world. Next in the series is China's protest US Navy present Navy passage via Taiwan, calling it a provocation that undermined peace and stability in the region. You're supposed to know is that we all know South China Sea is a very conflict-ridden area. China will claim entire South China's own territory. And US being the big power in the world, US always resisted. So what it does is from time to time, it conducts some kind of military exercises. So this is what US is doing right now. It is conducting military exercises in the South China Sea region. This region, like you can see in the map. But China doesn't like it. And especially this is important because US was moving in Taiwan waters, in the waters of the Taiwan, which China says it is own territory because it claims the water as well as Taiwan both as its own territory. But US says it is moving in the international water. So this is the conflict that you should be aware of. So this news was regarding this. Also in this map, memorize this map because UPSC can ask this question that there is a South China Sea which is at the bottom level. Above it is a China Sea. Above this is a Yellow Sea which is in between the China and Korea. And then there is a Sea of Japan which is in between the Korea and Japan. So you should know the sequence, which country lies where and which water is in which part of the world. Once we deal with this, there is an increasing nuclear ties between Russia and China, which is something we need to be careful about, where the two by video conferencing initiated the nuclear power plant in Tianwan and Zudabao nuclear power plants. What you should remember is Tianwan was already existing plant which was in work since 2007. Only a new unit is being added to it. Whereas Zudabao is still under construction. So one is already being built, a new unit is added, and whereas other one is still under construction. So this is something you should be aware of because as China and Russia are coming together, this can impact India's relationship with China and India's relationship with Russia and US as well, because there is an axis that forms in here. When Russia and China come together, we lose an edge where we cannot actually say Russia to take side with us, because Russia may not take our sides because it is bind by economic and energy ties with Russia, like the benefit we took in 1971. So this is something historical background, other thing you should be aware of, and how it may impact India, Russia, and India-China relationship. So this is done. Thank you so much. Now stay at home, stay healthy, and stay safe, and stay connected to Acube IAS because we'll provide you the daily news in a most comprehensive and simple manner where you not have to look around in many places. Thank you so much.